to make sure I was saying it right. So I wanted to ask you about your season so far because you seem like you're playing with a lot more confidence and playing a bigger role this year. Um, did you feel like you came in with more confidence this year?
For sure, for sure. Last year it was the freshman year. I was just trying to get around, learn new style of basketball because basketball here is different than Europe. And now when I look back, I could tell that I was really lost. And when I was in the game, I wasn't really confident. And this year, there's a big difference. I go in, I want to make a difference. I want to impact the team, impact the score. So there's a big difference.
So I mean, you're hitting your shots, you're getting steals, things like that. Just kind of what's your mindset as you get into a game? Is it just go out there and have fun and play?
I'm just trying to get in the zone and, as I said, make an impact however I can. I know I can shoot. I know I can drive to the basket. So I'm focusing on that in offense and to play solid offense. And then on defense, I'm just trying to do my best, just trying to keep my player in front and do good.
So coach is saying how they're really trying to develop depth on this team. There's a lot of good players on this team. Uh, how much has that driven you to make sure you're one of those players that is part of that depth that can help this team?
Well, it's driving me every day. Like that's why I show up to practice. That's why I do my best every day to to help them do that, to allow more players to have impact in the games, to let our starting five rest, to and it's just like my inner drive. Like I just want to have an impact, and it's bothering me when I don't. So if I'm not gonna play in a game, I'm gonna do something about it.
Yeah. So you spent 1 year at a high school in New York. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How much did that help your transition, do you think, to CU, just being able to be in the States for a year?
Not much, not much, because because high school, it was a military high school, and it was very um, how do you say it, unusual experience. It wasn't like a normal high school, and basketball wasn't at the best level. And I'm just happy I had my team of Europeans that we could play together and develop our skills in practice and not necessarily in games because our opponents weren't really good. And also, like experience wise, the high school, I spent most of my time within like foreign community, so it wasn't really like a true American experience.
Yeah. So in some ways, do you feel like you're a little behind some of your teammates and that you still have so much room to grow because of that?
Not necessarily, it's just the way that it's a little bit different and just adapting those differences. I wouldn't say I'm behind. It's just
Yeah.
adapting more.
When it comes to basketball, how much do you feel like you have room to grow based on the fact that, like you said, you didn't play the highest level
Mhm.
in that year in New York? Last year, you were on the bench a lot. Did you feel like you still got a lot of room to grow?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that was my idea coming in here. I knew I'm not gonna play right away, but I have 4 years, so I just wanted to make sure at the end of those 4 years, I'm at the highest level I can possibly be, and it wouldn't happen at any other level.
So are you enjoying it this year, or is it kind of hard with the pandemic going on and you
It's
can't really have like a normal year anyway?
I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard, but I'm trying to enjoy it. And there's better and worse moments, but every time you fall, you gotta pick yourself up and try again, and that's kind of the metaphor of how how this year is.
Yeah. All right, Corey. Sorry, I've hogged it enough. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm just going to ask a couple questions. I'll probably play some of the answers back here because I usually get to talk to you for our halftime segment and get to know the Buffs like we did last year a little bit and things like that. And now I'm not traveling with you guys. I don't get to see you guys as much. I'm curious, you're talking about coming off the bench, which you did last year and you're doing this year. What kind of things do you do differently this year to be ready to go? It's a tough position. If you're a starter, you already know you're going to be in the game at the beginning and all of that. But when you're coming off the bench, how do you get yourself up to that level that you need to be and ready to go as soon as you step onto the court? Do you do something different this year? You look more confident, certainly.
It's for sure mindset, the mindset I developed and the confidence I developed in practice. That's for sure. And then when I come in on the court, I'm also, before that, I'm looking, like, let's say, I usually play the two, so I'm looking at Frida. What is she doing? Who is she guarding? Where is she running? What works well, what doesn't? And then I'm going to the court with that knowing already. And that makes me feel more confident. And then I'm trying to put my pieces onto the court and try to fix the mistakes and run what has been working when other people were on the court.
That's so smart. That any young girl or even young boy who's listening to this should, when they're on the bench, they should be watching the position that they're going to be replacing out there. And
It's
kind
almost
of,
like playing, but not really like physically, but like being in a game mentally and like preparing yourself. Whether you go in or not, you learning still because you're mentally on the court.
have you imparted some of that wisdom and knowledge to the freshmen this year about how to sit on the bench, how to watch a game when you're on the bench and could potentially be going in?
I wasn't doing it really in my freshman year, but I figured since I wasn't playing last year, I still wanted to develop, and I felt bad, like feeling like I'm not growing. So I just tried to figure out a way to grow still, even though I was not getting playing time. And this year it helps me, even though getting to play more. It helps me get in the rhythm in the game and all that stuff.
Nice. When you guys go on the road, I'm curious, and I didn't realize, I mean, Coach talked about it when you guys went to Oregon too, but you guys are really isolated. What kind of things do you do in your hotel room to pass the time? Because you don't get to, I mean, traveling with you guys last year, I know that you guys had an opportunity to walk around. You sometimes, we would have team functions where we, go have dinner somewhere or go walk around, downtown Seattle or, go down to Pike Market or in LA, go someplace.
Yeah.
What do you do to pass the time?
Honestly, on the road, there's not that much time to spend. We usually watch film, practice, eat, watch film. So it's not that bad. And I feel like the whole quarantine got us a little bit used to it. And I felt like we hang out with each other more since we are the only people that we can hang out with. And it's actually not as bad as you would think on the road.
Just last thing for me, how is school going? I know you're going to kick it back up here again here real soon. Was it nice to get the holiday break and get through the first set of semester, finals and everything?
Well, school online is there's some pros and cons to that, and one thing is for sure you have more time, more flexibility, stuff like that. But I don't really like the technology piece. Like I don't like to sit in front of the computer, and I can't really sit a long time in front of the computer, and that's really been a hard part for me, and also not being able to interact with other people, which makes it more fun.
Yeah. Zoom University, as Maya called it. You guys call it Zoom University.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready to go back to in-person classes, but I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit more for that.
Yeah. Well, that's it for me. Thank you for talking, and good luck. You guys play well out there. I'm looking forward to you guys getting up against UCLA.
Thank you.
Zuzanna, I do have one more for you, if that's okay. I know that you went home a few months ago
Yeah.
in the fall or late summer, something like that. So I'm just curious, how long had it been since you had been home, and how much did that really help your just you mentally to be able to go home?
Well, it's been a year since I've been home before that, but a year ago I only been home for 5 days. So I really didn't get to see all my friends and all that. So basically it's been like 2 years almost since I've seen everybody. But in general, I was scared to go home at first because of COVID. I wasn't sure if I'm gonna be able to come back to America after I go home. But as right after I found out that I'm gonna be able to go back, after I go home, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I gotta go home for my mental health. And it was actually really good for me. And I enjoyed my time so much. And I hang out with all my friends. Like we never fell apart. And it was just a beautiful experience to spend some time with my friends and family, visit the places that I used to visit in my hometown. I just very, very needed that.
Yeah. How long did you get to go home?
And for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, and that was back. It was in the summer, right?
Yes. At the
Okay.
end. Because we got
What's
locked
that?
down again, and I was like, I'm not doing quarantine here. I'm just going home.
So it was like August or September, something like that.
It was in August, beginning of
August. Okay.
beginning of August. Yeah,
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to do that.
yeah, I'm glad to.
So thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.